welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions. I'm Rebecca Felgate, and today we are taking a flight of fancy as we imagine what would have happened if Donald Trump was president during World War I. Would this have had any repercussions and lasting effects that would have changed the world as we know it today? On the 1st of August 1914, war officially broke out across vast expanses of Europe, plummeting most of the world's civilized nations into chaos. The United States of America, an up-and-coming economic power, at first decided to stay neutral. After almost 3 years, on April 6, 1917, American President Woodrow Wilson decided tentatively to enter the war. His troops arrived to help the Allies in the summer of 1918 and majorly assisted in securing a win by November 1918. Following the war, President Woodrow Wilson outlined his historic and globally altering 14-point plan, which shaped Europe and championed democracy. He then won the 1919 Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts. So suffice to say, these things would not have happened had Trump been president at the time. Trump's first decision, like Wilson's, would be whether or not to enter the war in the first place. Of course, we know what he would do today.
I'm gonna bomb the shit out of them.
But the States in the early 1900s were a very different place, and the Team America World Police attitude that we all know today did not exist back then. Either way, from what we know about Trump and how he deals with aggression from other parts of the world, let's assume he would, like Wilson, have decided to enter the war. Unlike President Wilson, Trump is quite an impulsive man. If he had wanted to enter the war, he probably would have joined straight away. If not, the German bombing of cruise liner Lusitania in May 1915 that killed 128 US citizens would have been enough to incite him. America played a huge part in World War I, but only fought for a few months. In that time, 110,000 US citizens lost their lives. Had they entered the war earlier, this death toll could have been higher. Also, America's last-minute entry was at a time that Germany's army was weak. Had they entered earlier at Trump's command, there could feasibly have been more attacks on American soil and definitely in their waters. That said, perhaps the death of more Americans would have saved the lives of more Europeans. If America had entered earlier, perhaps the fighting would have been over quicker, although most historians believe that the states joined at the right time, aka when the enemy was already weak. Joining earlier could have had a very negative and perhaps alternative outcome. Wilson entered the war at a time when American opinions were warming up to the idea of war. At the outbreak of war, most Americans wanted to remain neutral. Had Trump entered early out of impulse, he could have really lost the support of his people, especially if the fight had come over the Atlantic. This could have ruled out a second term for Mr. Trump. As we know, Woodrow Wilson favoured peace and was a huge influence in the negotiation of civility at the end of the war. We know that Trump is far less diplomatic and would have been somewhat hot-headed until the very end. This could have left European countries really resenting America, which could have played a big factor in World War II, where the states could have been a bigger target. The most important difference had Trump been president would have been the lack of Wilson's 14-point plan. Without this, Germany would have been a much bigger country than it is today. There would be no country of Poland, and the geography of Italy, France, and Serbia would look very different too, and perhaps there would still be an Ottoman Empire. Very importantly, Wilson created the League of Nations, which has helped the world strive for peace for the past 100 years. Without it, who knows what petty wars would have erupted. Trump would not have outlined the 14 points Wilson did. Goodness knows how he would have reacted in peace negotiations. If he behaves like the man we know today, I expect he would have made a few enemies. Guys, imagine how many walls would have been built by the end of 1918. It seems like at the end of World War I, America needed a president like Woodrow Wilson, who took a measured and thought-out approach to the aggression and strove in the end to help the world create an atmosphere of mutual understanding. World War II would still have happened, but if Trump had been in charge, it could have been a whole lot worse for America. Perhaps the world could use a touch more Woodrow Wilson right about now. So guys, that was today's episode of Life's Biggest Questions. Do let me know what you thought to this video in the comments section down below. For now, I'm Rebecca Felgate. Remember to stay curious, stay alert, and never ever stop questioning.